Ford Pinto. The Ford Pinto was a compact car introduced by the Ford Motor Company in 1971 during the rise of small, fuel-efficient vehicles in the United States. It was built quickly to compete with growing Japanese imports. The problem was not how it drove, but how it was designed. Its fuel tank was placed in a vulnerable position behind the rear axle. In certain rear-end collisions, the tank could rupture and catch fire. Internal company documents later revealed that cost considerations were weighed against safety improvements. Lawsuits followed, and the Pinto became a symbol of corporate negligence. Even decades later, it remains one of the most controversial cars ever built. Yugo GV. The Yugo GV came from the former Yugoslavia and entered the American market in the mid-1980s. It was marketed as one of the cheapest new cars available in the United States. While the price attracted attention, the build quality quickly damaged its reputation. Owners reported constant mechanical failures, poor reliability, and fragile parts. The engine performance was weak, and safety standards were minimal. The car struggled to handle long-term use, and resale values dropped sharply. Over time, the Yugo became shorthand for an unreliable vehicle that simply did not meet expectations. Pontiac Aztek. The Pontiac Aztek was introduced by General Motors in 2001 as a crossover SUV aimed at younger, adventurous buyers. It offered practical features like a roomy interior and optional camping accessories. On paper, it was ahead of its time. However, its exterior design divided opinion almost instantly. The unusual shape, heavy plastic cladding, and awkward proportions led many critics to call it unattractive. Sales were far below expectations, and production ended after only a few years. Although it later gained cult status through television appearances, its original reputation as one of the ugliest cars ever made still lingers. Chevrolet Corvair. The Chevrolet Corvair was produced by General Motors between 1960 and 1969. It featured a rear-mounted, air-cooled engine, which was unusual for American cars at the time. The design aimed to compete with compact European models. However, early versions had handling issues due to their suspension setup. In 1965, consumer advocate Ralph Nader published a book criticizing the car's safety, which intensified public concern. Although later models improved significantly, the damage to its image was done. The Corvair became central to debates about automotive safety standards in the United States. Reliant Robin. The Reliant Robin was a small three-wheeled car produced in the United Kingdom. It was designed to be lightweight and economical, and in some cases it could be driven with a motorcycle license. Its single front wheel gave it a distinct appearance. However, that same layout made it unstable during sharp turns. It became widely known for tipping over, especially in sudden maneuvers. While many owners appreciated its simplicity and low running costs, the Robin gained a reputation as unsafe and impractical. Media portrayals only reinforced that image. Fiat Multipla. The Fiat Multipla was launched in 1998 by the Italian manufacturer Fiat. It was designed as a compact family vehicle with a surprisingly spacious interior. One of its most unusual features was its two-row, three-seat arrangement in the front and back, allowing 6 passengers in a relatively short body. Yet its appearance became the main focus of criticism. The split-level headlights and wide stance gave it a look that many found awkward. Despite offering practicality and good visibility, public reaction to its styling overshadowed its strengths. Over time, it became a frequent example in discussions about polarizing car design. DeLorean DMC-12. The DeLorean DMC-12 was introduced in the early 1980s by the DeLorean Motor Company. It featured stainless steel body panels and distinctive gull-wing doors. The car was built in Northern Ireland and aimed to be futuristic and innovative. However, performance did not match its dramatic appearance. The engine was underpowered, and quality control problems affected reliability. Financial trouble and legal issues surrounding the company's founder led to the brand's collapse. Although the DMC-12 later gained fame through film, its commercial failure and production struggles made it one of the most complicated stories in automotive history. Chrysler PT Cruiser. The Chrysler PT Cruiser debuted in 2000 with retro styling inspired by 1930s American cars. It was marketed as a practical compact wagon with character. Early demand was strong, and waiting lists formed at dealerships. Over time, however, opinions shifted. The design began to feel dated, and interior materials did not age well. Performance was modest, and fuel efficiency was average at best. As sales declined, the PT Cruiser became associated with an era of automotive trends that did not last. What once felt fresh slowly turned into one of the more criticized designs of its generation.